My name is Amarachi Onyima, and I am the Resident Resources Advocate here. My job is pretty much to outreach in the community with different organizations that offer education and employment services and connect my residents to those services. Our residents have education and employment goals, and so my job is to help facilitate that process with getting connected with job readiness programs, job training, education prep, whether it be GED prep or community college prep, and helping them reach their goals.
I hear you work with something like 60 providers who do everything from attire for women who don't have work clothes to helping women get their GEDs. That's a lot of people to keep track of. How do you do it?
I just keep myself organized as far as just maintaining a spreadsheet with their names, their contact info, and keeping track of which of the residents are actually going to certain providers. We also invite people to come here and do info sessions and workshops for the residents here. So that's a good way to really connect our organization with the organization's community by having them come in and kind of actually see where their services are going.
What do you think the biggest needs are?
The biggest needs are, that's kind of hard to say just because our clients are so diverse as far as their skills, their employment backgrounds, their education backgrounds. I mean, there's some people who, are kind of at square one where they kind of just need more basic education training, studying for their GED or learning basic work job skills. And there's some people who have actually pretty impressive education backgrounds, and there might be like one or two barriers that are preventing them from just getting the job. So it really varies, and it changes because it's a transitional housing program. So we're getting women who are coming in and coming out with different backgrounds.
And what do you think some of the most common challenges are for them?
I think, the common threads that all of these ladies have is a history of homelessness. A lot of women also have some type of mental health issues, substance abuse history, and those things are barriers because those are areas of their life they actively have to pursue. So having to spend a lot of energy dealing with that, but then also focusing on having to study or going to a job training program, it's kind of like a lot to juggle, especially if they never weren't really in an environment where there was a lot of structure, or if they had a history of being really independent and they have to come to a program like this where there's strict rules and regulations and kind of things that you have to follow. Just kind of that adjustment, I think, can be a challenge. But we work hard to try and motivate our residents to kind of think long term. Making sure I allocate enough time for each side because both positions require a lot of work. I guess as far as working with the residents, working with people who don't really have that motivation and trying to kind of figure out who they are and find things that motivate them personally, and then using that to kind of motivate them to look for jobs or study harder with whatever program there's or something. So if you have someone who's really resistant, doesn't want to show up to my meetings or the case management meetings, it can be a hard day because you have all these resources for them, but they're not really wanting to take advantage of them. I mean, I've worked in social services for a few years, but this is definitely, I would say, my most challenging job, just because of the nature of the job. I have to be a salesperson pretty much, especially having to help my residents actually get employed. Part of my job is actually going out to employers and kind of sales pitching, our ladies, and I'm kind of an introvert, so that's just a personal challenge of mine, having to, advocate for them. But that's what, I enjoy doing, and, getting the word out about our organization is important because it'll, help the ladies get more connected with.
What are 3 things you tell employers when you're trying to pitch them on hiring a client?
I would say the 3 things I mentioned are our women are actively involved in job readiness, job training programs, and they have strong teams helping them stay connected with those type of programs. Another thing that I mentioned is that if they were to get employed, they would continue to get support, which is something that's important. They wouldn't just get hired and kind of be left out there. They would come back here, continue to talk to case managers and me about continuing to be effective on the job, and then also just give them stats about our success with placing women in jobs and show them that what we're doing actually works, and if they get on board, they won't be they'll be happy that they hired a client from New Endeavors. One thing that I love about DC is that there are so many resources in DC. If you want to work, if you want to go back to school, there's no reason that you can't. There's a lot of organizations that offer free programs, free education, and so while I mentioned that keeping organized with all these organizations is kind of difficult, it's kind of easy at the same time because there's so many to choose from that there's no reason that someone is worried about that they don't have the skill set or they don't have the education because it's out there.